In the last few months, the UFO community has been turned upside down by the sudden admission by the U.S. Navy that the UFO videos released were authentic and that the craft displayed abilities which seem to defy our understanding of physics. All of the pilots and sailors involved have all testified on various television shows that are currently being aired on mainstream television. This constitutes disclosure, and since the craft reacted to ours and our craft reacted to these unknown craft, it constitutes contact by definition. To the Stars Academy has acquired what is being described as a metamaterial. These metamaterials are apparently materials that cannot be produced on the Earth. In this case, the metamaterial is a wedge-shaped artifact that appears to have micron layers. The eminent scientist Hal Puthoff has basically said that, it could be extraterrestrial in nature. To the Stars Academy has now signed a contract with the U.S. Army. This will allow access to the laboratories needed to fully test and examine the material. Any discovery which could lead to warfare technology obviously will be retained by the Army according to this contract. Neither the Bigfoot or UFO communities suspect that one has anything to do with the other, but just the opposite is true. A long line of evidence is beginning to show a far more complex origin to the Bigfoot species than either group is aware of. And in a full 20% of reported Bigfoot sightings, a UFO is also reported at the scene. John Kill, the prominent ufologist and paranormal researcher famous for the Mothman prophecies, once I proposed the idea that there were these window areas around the world connecting our reality with parallel dimensions. Kill imagined that some of the unexplained reports of entities that are too fleeting or confusing to later detail or prove probably came from another dimension. And with the increasing plausibility of the multiverse theory and infinite neighboring universes, maybe we should be asking ourselves, are UFOs and Bigfoot interdimensional travelers, or could they at least be a connection between the two? When it comes to Bigfoot, they have been able to evade contact with us despite thousands of reported sightings over hundreds of years. There are a few intriguing Native American oral histories considering the creature. An intriguing account came from 1888 meeting between cattle ranchers and a group of Paiute Indians in Northern California. The Paiute have an oral history of 3 crazy bears descending in a small moon, leaving them in the woods before taking off. They describe these crazy bears as being upright, running like a man. In 1973, a woman named Rafa Hetfield and her daughter had an experience where they too saw a simian creature along with a UFO sighting, and both the ape and the craft disappeared. The body of sighting reports involving Bigfoot and UFOs are numerous, and any researcher can find them out there. I've been a cryptozoologist studying Bigfoot for decades. I believe it's alternatively possible that Bigfoot is being abducted by UFOs in much the same way humans are, to study its DNA and physical attributes. My newly published book, Paranormal Planet, I explain my unified field theory of paranormal activity. I believe the Earth's fluctuations can create momentary tears in the electromagnetic membrane separating our universe with a parallel one, allowing extra-dimensional entities to access into this dimension. We have to remember the famous Arthur C. Clarke once said that any sufficiently advanced science will be indistinguishable from magic. And when we look at things like cattle mutilations, what we are seeing is a technology which is indistinguishable from magic. My theory states that all paranormal activity can be explained under 2 separate mechanisms. One is a interaction with UFOs, cattle mutilations, abductions, crop circles, anthropoid cryptid animals, and a wide array of other alien-related phenomenon are all caused by Earth's interaction with the Type 3 civilization on the Kardashev scale. Nikolai Kardashev was a scientist who came up with the idea that civilizations and how advanced they are could be judged by how much power they consume. A type 1 civilization can harness all the power of its star. A type 2 can harness the stars perhaps in its entire solar system. And then a type 3 would be able to do so presumably across an entire galaxy as needed for their colonization. So type 1 paranormal activity comes from this interaction with a type 3 civilization. The second type of paranormal activity is interdimensional in nature. Around the world, there are vast quartz crystal deposits. The deposits are almost always located in areas where a wide array of paranormal activity has always been reported. These are places always held sacred by indigenous people, and strangely enough, there is often a military presence at these locations. Physicists believe that other dimensions exist, and what separates dimensions is an electromagnetic membrane. As the Earth travels through space, it has minute fluctuations, which is now known as the Mach effect. These fluctuations cause quartz to compress, becoming ionized. This in turn causes extremely strong electromagnetic waves to be produced. These waves are strong enough to cause a momentary rip or tear in the membrane, separating dimensions. We call this interaction paranormal activity. This type of paranormal activity includes all other types not covered under interaction with a Type 3 society. There are numerous other cases involving UFOs and Sasquatch. One was part of Project Blue Book, the Presque Isle incident, happened in the 1960s, and a group of kids on the beach in Erie, Pennsylvania, had an experience with a UFO where they also reported seeing a upright, walking, bipedal, ape-like, man-like creature, and that was investigated by the CIA. So that's very interesting, and there's a wide array of these cases. My question is, could the Presque Isle incident be the result of a window area where beings from another dimension entered our universe? To this day, the witnesses maintain their accounts of what happened, and many others have come forward saying, too, they saw a UFO above the peninsula that evening. Bigfoot researchers are well aware of the results of 2 separate Bigfoot genome studies. These studies concluded that the maternal DNA was Homo sapien, and the paternal Y DNA comes up unknown, but most closely relates to primate DNA. In private conversations with geneticists who have had access to this DNA, I discovered that the Y DNA is truly remarkable, and although it appears closely related to primates, it also appears to have the genes of many other species all spliced together. The chimera work that this would require is way beyond any human capacity. Chimera experiments are now taking place in a few laboratories around the world. A chimera has a blend of genes from species that would not be able to hybridize through breeding. These chimera experiments have been reported by mainstream media, and the details are available to the public. My research into Dogman sightings has been documented and published. The liquid lichen case is now famous around the world. It is known to me that DNA of one of these creatures was also obtained and tested. The results were astonishing in that the maternal DNA was again Homo sapien. The Y DNA was once again an apparent chimera construction. As a professional investigator, I live by one rule: whenever you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, has to be the truth. After years of studying these creatures and finding ample amount of physical evidence of their existence, it is now apparent to me that a creature like this simply could not have evolved in this biosphere. Its capabilities are far too advanced over any other life form. These capabilities are genetic in nature. There is no other animal that is anything remotely close to these. It's impossible for any primate creature, no matter how smart or cunning, no matter how fast or stealthy, to remain undiscovered after the gargantuan effort that has been put forth by researchers worldwide. No primates that evolved naturally in this biosphere anyway. On any given year now, over 200,000 game cameras are sold. Despite this enormously widespread use, not a single photograph has ever been obtained by one. The answer for this is quite simple. These creatures can see in infrared light. A number of species can see in infrared light. But the only known mammal that can see in infrared light is the reindeer. The Bigfoot species apparently shares the same ability, and they are able to see the camera's infrared lights in the dark like a spotlight. Another amazing ability which has been reported by many witnesses is the apparent ability to use infrasound to both cause paralysis in its prey and to send a sense of fear into people that are near one of these creatures. In recent studies of tiger growls, they detected the same infrasound mechanism. Tigers are able to temporarily freeze their prey with the sound of their roar. Humans can only hear some of the sounds that tigers use to communicate. Humans can hear frequencies from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, but whales, elephants, rhinos, and tigers can produce sounds below 20 hertz. This low-pitched sound called infrasound can travel long distances, cutting through forest, passing through mountains. The lower the frequency, the further the distance they can travel. Scientists believe that infrasound is the missing link in studying tiger communication. Witnesses have been reported feeling the effects of infrasound when they feel a Bigfoot is near. The feelings of disorientation and nausea have been widely reported in the Bigfoot community. Elephants use infrasound to communicate over vast distances. It is entirely possible the Bigfoot species uses infrasound in much the same way. These abilities are made possible by their DNA makeup. Bigfoot hair has no medulla and contains a translucence that allows for light to reflect the color of its surroundings into its fur. Many reports of so-called cloaking have been reported. This is nature's perfect cloaking and is made possible again by their amazing DNA. In field investigations, we have come across disappearing track lines of Bigfoot tracks. On one investigation, the tracks led for hundreds of yards, 19-inch footprints, into the middle of a field with a consistent soil makeup. The prints dead-ended right where they should have continued. What is more disturbing is that the stride of the creature went from 6 feet to 10 feet in the middle of the track line. This indicated to us that this creature had been spooked by something and started to run, accounting for the change in stride. Whatever happened to it in the middle of the field remains unknown, but given its chimera construction, it's quite possible these creatures are often taken by the same craft that the U.S. Navy has now admitted exist and which we as UFO investigators have known for decades. In the Dogman cases, I have all the same elements as in the Bigfoot mystery. We have indigenous oral histories about them, we have physical evidence being left at the scene, and we have an ever-growing body of very credible eyewitnesses. After investigating these creatures for many years, the same holds true. There is no possible way for a bipedal, canine-headed creature to naturally evolve on this planet. This fact further confirms the DNA findings of a chimera construction. Their story told in the book of Genesis may be an allusion to these chimera constructions. The story states that the fallen angels interbred with humanity, and this created all sorts of genetic monstrosities. Could this be an ancient telling of the origin of not only Bigfoot or Dogman, but also all of the other anthropoid cryptid animals being reported by witnesses around the world? An ancient way of describing this genetic manipulation. Whether you use the word alien or angel, it is becoming ever more apparent that these creatures were constructed by a non-human intelligence. I now believe all bipedal animal sightings to be chimeric constructions and fall under interaction with the Type 3 civilization. Any successful attempt to capture irrefutable proof of the existence of these creatures will have to include this understanding and appropriate techniques developed in recognition of this development regarding this phenomenon.